So, good morning everybody and welcome to the 78th meeting of the Economy Committee. No members will be attending this morning as we provide starting. And we won't have any witnesses, so we can skip that bit. The meeting will be broadcast live when open to the public and a recording will be made available on the committee's web pages on the Assembly website. The bill briefing will be hand-sorted as per protocol, and just remind members to mute their tablet devices. So moving on then to item number 1, which is apologies, and we have apologies from Claire Sugden, and members will likely want to extend their further condolences to Claire, who lost her mother-in-law over the weekend. So moving on to item number 2 then, which is the informal clause by clause for the parental bereavement leave and pay bill. So we will proceed through the clauses and put the questions formally in respect of them. And just to advise members, where there are amendments, I'll put the question on the amendment first. If there isn't consensus on the questions, I will ask members to vote through a show of hands, and the clerk will confirm the result of each vote. So moving on then to clause 1, which is parental bereavement leave. There is an amendment on application in relation to miscarriage, and the question is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so the committee is content with the amendment as drafted.
Thank you.
So we move on then to clause 2, Peter.
So basically then, top of page 3, we go for a final committee is content with the clauses as amended.
Okay, apologies. So.
No, well, I said twice, sometimes it's 3 times.
Okay, so the committee is content with clause 1 as amended by the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on then to clause 2, which is parental bereavement pay. There is an amendment on the removal of the 26-week eligibility criteria for parental bereavement leave. Parental bereavement pay. Is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office?
Content.
No. So we want to vote then on that?
Yep.
So those that are content, please show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those that are not content? 1, 2, 3. So 5 to 3, the amendment stands.
So the committee is content with the amendment as drafted. And then there's a further amendment in clause 2, which is the amendment on the application in relation to miscarriage. Is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office?
Content.
Content, okay.
The committee is content with the amendment as drafted. And then, is the committee content with clause 2 as amended?
Content.
Thank
The
you.
committee is content with clause 2 as amended by the committee. Okay.
So we drop all the highlighted entirely.
Okay.
And 3 then is unchanged. So if you want to do that bottom bit.
So is the committee content with clause 3 as drafted?
Content.
Thank you.
So the committee is content with clause 3 as drafted. So clause 4, commencement. There is an amendment on commencement in conjunction with the amendment on the application of miscarriage made to clauses 1 and 2. Is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office for insertion at page 10, line 24?
Content.
Okay. The committee is content with the amendment as drafted. So amendment then on commencement in conjunction with amendments on the application of miscarriage made to clauses 1 and 2. Is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office? Peter, am I repeating myself?
No, you're okay. Keep
For
going on that
insertion
one.
at page 10, line 27?
Yes.
Yes.
Content.
Thank you.
The committee is content with the amendment as drafted.
Content.
Yes.
So is the committee content with clause 4 as amended?
Content.
Thank
The
you.
committee is content with clause 4 as amended by the committee. So clause 5 then is the short title. Is the committee content with clause 5 as drafted?
Content.
And yes. Excellent.
The committee is content with clause 5 as drafted. Schedule further amendments to do with parental bereavement leave and pay. The amendment in respect of the Assembly procedures applied to the amendment on the application of miscarriage pay made to clause 2. So is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office for insertion in Schedule 1, page 13, line 16 at the end?
Content,
yeah.
The committee is content with the amendment as drafted. Amendment in respect of the Assembly procedures applied to amendments on the application of miscarriage leave made to clause 1. Is the committee content with the amendment as drafted for the committee by the Bills Office for insertion in Schedule 1, page 15, line 2 at the end?
Content.
Thank you.
The committee is content with the amendment as drafted. So is the committee content with Schedule 1 as amended?
Content.
The committee is content with Schedule 1 as amended by the committee. Long title, a bill to make provision about leave and pay for employees whose children have died. Is the committee content with the long title of the bill?
Content.
Thank you. That last line on the bottom of that page. Oh, that's 7.
The committee is content with the long title as drafted. Okay.
That's that. Brilliant.
So we're moving on then.
So, Chair, we'll just look at a couple of small parts of the committee bill report. We've already drafted as we've gone along, and there's some sections of that that are purely narrative. We will further amend after today. We'll have all our Hansards in place, all our minutes in place, and now we've gone through the amendments, and clause by clause we'll be able to insert that. So the bits we're going to look at and approve today are just membership and powers, etc. So if you want to go ahead with those, Chair.
Okay, so members have their pack there ready. We will now consider a draft committee report on the parental bereavement leave and pay bill. The page numbers referred to may change due to reformatting before consideration of the final report at Wednesday's meeting. The aim of today is to ascertain if members are generally content with the draft of the report. So there is the title page, the table of contents and the committee powers and membership at pages 9 and 10 of your pack. Are members content with the with these sections as drafted?
Thank you.
Okay. So then there is the introduction and committee approach at paragraphs 27 to 48 of pages 18 to 21. So if members have had a look at those and are content.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that bottom bit, if you drop out,
Okay.
and then that's pretty much
That's
us.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Chair, we'll bring back a final subject to further spell check draft bill report on Wednesday, and that'll pretty much be the bulk of Wednesday's business. And otherwise, that is effectively us done with this. Announce the next date for meeting.
So our date, time and place of the next meeting is Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. in room 30.